Yeah, really, really, really good win against a good opponent. All wins are team wins, but that's about as good a team win as you're going to get. Start off with ST, setting the tone. We punt the ball down to their one on the first possession, flip the field. We were backed up. They go 70 yards. You know, obviously, if they didn't start on their one, they might have scored already. But now we line up for a field goal, and Caden Wooler blocks the field goal. So you got a huge punt to start the game to flip the field. Then you get a field goal block. Shortly after that, you got our punt unit. They drop a punt, and our punt unit gets on it. So, like, first quarter, tons of huge plays our way. And again, the first quarter was kind of the game from the standpoint of jumping out to 17-0, and they closed the gap, but they could never get ahead. Defense played tremendously throughout, particularly in the first half. We forced 5 punts. They had punted 12 times in 5 games, and we forced 5 punts in the first half, so they hadn't punted 5 times in a game, let alone 5 times in a half. And a lot of 3-and-outs. Kept getting the ball back to our offense. Did a great job against the run game. They had rushed for 335 yards the week before. Held them to just over 100 for the game. Quarterback had the longest run on a 3rd and 20, 21-yard scramble. We held Cooper, who's a fantastic back, to 32 yards. He had rushed for 240-some the week before. He killed us here. He's a great player in our league. Tackled really well on the perimeter defensively. Their 2 outside receivers are as good as you get in this league. They caught a lot of balls. Frizz McKee, in particular, one-on-one tackles out on the perimeter to the field over and over and over and over again. And, yeah, they were getting 10 yards and they were getting 8 yards, but that's what they were getting. And John was tremendous tackling too. So our corners really put them on islands a lot, and they tackled really, really well against 2 guys that are hard to tackle, particularly the Cephas kid. Has tons of yards after catch. Killed us a year ago with yards after, kills everybody's with yards after catch. And offensively took advantage of some field position. We had 2 chunk passes on play-action passes in the first half that set up scores. And then we had a 41-yard counter to Kevin Davis. So they took advantage and got points on the board. Then the start of the second half was a key. 3-and-out and drive down and score right away, make it 24-7. That ends up being the game. That you got a 17-point lead, and now they're scrambling to come back. Kent's offense got to go in second half. They had a couple touchdowns, got it to 27-21, and had the ball after back-to-back scores. We give up a big play over our head, which they're so good at doing. And then the defense, the biggest thing defense did all day is that's what we talked about all week, is like when they start to move the ball, no one stops them. They just score. That's why they score so many points. It's not the beginning of the drive. No one can, once they get moving and you get tired, they got down inside our 15 and we held them to a field goal attempt with 6 minutes to go. Instead of it being 28-27, it's 27-24. And then the offense, won the game at the end. I mean, the offense won the field 6 minutes ago and won the game for us. And that's you have opportunities sometimes at the end of the game to win the game, and sometimes the defense does, sometimes the offense does it, sometimes neither do it. And the offense marched 6 minutes off the clock. Obviously, Avion was huge in the drive. The first and 20 run for 31 yards was a well blocked. We should have got 10-12 for sure. Good call, well blocked. But then he turned a 10-yard gain into a 30-yard gain because he's really running with confidence now and really getting good feel for running the football. And then we grinded it out. We used a bunch of different tailbacks, and we grinded it out. And again, obviously, the 4th and 6, really good play design, really good call at the time by Coach Kaler, and then really good execution. And we take a knee and win the game. So it took everybody. It took offense, defense, and special teams. Everybody pitched in. Kent is good in all 3 areas, like we talked earlier in the week. Like it used to be, Kent's an offensive team and their defense struggled. Their defense doesn't struggle anymore. They've got a really good defense, and they've played really good defense against really good people this year. So every time, didn't matter what unit took the field, there was work to be done, and our kids fought and found a way again to get a great victory by 3 points off a team that was coming in pretty significantly favored over us.
Questions?
Just
not necessarily as a coach, but just as a fan, how much fun was it for you to watch that last drive and the way you guys basically just shoved the ball down their throats? You had to run the ball to take the time off the clock, and you got that done. That had to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I always say if you can run the ball at the end of the game when they know you have to run it, then that's quite an accomplishment because everybody's got the box loaded and they're not worried about the pass, and everybody's down there, and so it's very difficult to run in those situations, and to do that obviously is very. You take a lot of pride as an offensive line, running back group, but really the whole offense. Everybody's in there blocking, and but it's again. I was mostly just nervous. I really wasn't enjoying it. Looking back, because when I watched it Saturday night, it was very enjoyable, but because I knew the outcome. But during the drive, I really wasn't. I was looking at the clock and trying to help AV manage the time. There's no play clocks. Probably cost us 40 seconds. Probably cost us. Not having play clocks probably cost us a whole possession on that last run. Like, we probably could have taken a knee after we probably didn't need to get the last first down if we had play clocks working. Seriously. Like, we probably, at least 40 seconds. Because AV can't see the play clock. It's that we're trying to milk clock the whole drive, but he didn't. And again, you're talking about a really young quarterback on the last drive, and there's a lot on his plate already, and he's looking for pressures, and he's looking for different things. Now you got a play clock. It's easy. You look up, you snap it on one. We snapped the ball 3 or 4 times early in the drive with over 20 on the play clock because I was keeping the clock in my head. And then later in the drive, we got to him after the first down. We kind of got to him and said, hey, listen, the guys, we knew what they were doing. He knew what he was doing, but it was just without, you had to wait. And again, without a play clock made it very difficult on a very inexperienced quarterback. Brett would have been out there, probably wouldn't have been a big deal. But like I said, AV had a lot on his plate in that drive, and he did everything we needed him to do on that drive. But literally, there's twice we snapped the ball very early in the drive, and it, like I said, when we got to that last first time, the game almost should be over right now. There's about a minute left, and it really shouldn't. We should be almost taking a knee right now. So, but then he started. It was hard because the guy's counting it down from 5, and you got to remember, was that 4 or was that 3? Because you don't want to take a delay then. You know what I mean? The last thing you do is want to give them 5 yards. So it was a difficult situation for any quarterback, let alone a young quarterback that hasn't been in a lot of those end of the game situations. So, but he ended up we got it corrected during the drive. Otherwise, we probably would have had to get another first down. But it was an awesome drive. That was I don't usually get excited when we complete the ball. Probably excited I've been in a while, just the execution, and then obviously the 4th down call, and then the execution on the 4th down call was excellent, and AV puts it right on him, and so and again, against a really good team, and they're coming in on a high of an overtime victory, we're coming in a low, they were at home last week, we had traveled, so it was good, and again, everybody pitched in, everybody did their part to eke one out.
Coach, how would you evaluate Avion Smith's performance this week, and what did that last drive show you?
Yeah, so the same thing we've been seeing on, but he's getting more like Buffalo. He started getting really comfortable running the ball and kind of exploded in Buffalo, and then it continued to show this week. It wasn't just that he had that great run on the last drive, but he ran good the whole day for us. There's one time he got hit 2 yards short of a first down, and next thing you know, he was falling forward for a first down. I'm like, what happened? I couldn't really see it, and I watched it on the game afterwards. He just kept fighting. And next thing you know, he's falling forward. So he's getting confident running the ball. And then obviously we've been talking about being more efficient throwing the ball, and we're 9 for 14 for 170 some yards. And a couple of the big plays that we've had in the previous games that we missed, we hit. And that's the difference for us right now. He hits Miles, he hits Cold Iron on huge plays that are game-changing plays. And we had some of those opportunities in the previous games he played, and he hasn't already hit them. So keep talking about his technique, because like we talked last week, when his technique is good, he can throw the ball plenty accurate enough. When his technique, I always imagine you know, me and Kayla were talking about like a young Gus Ragland, when Gus wasn't super accurate when he was a young guy, and mostly because his technique was hit and miss. And when Gus's technique was good, he was pretty accurate. But when he was a younger player, he didn't. Then as Gus grew in our program, he became a really efficient passer. It's like, well, what happened is like, well, he worked real hard, and he got to the point where he'd take all those techniques from practice the game, and that's where the accuracy comes from. So he obviously was much more accurate on Saturday, and then obviously he competed his tail off just like he's been doing and giving us a chance to win every week.
There were two big pass plays that did not result in touchdowns, but kind of set things up. Did you catch them in something maybe that you were looking for during the week, or was it just kind of a thing where, oh, here they are, they're open, and AV found them?
Yeah, no, good, well schemed up. We knew, you know, they run this 3-3-5 with Iowa State runs, and more teams are starting to run it, but we have not seen it, even though it's been out there for a few years. We just haven't seen it. So it was a completely, our offensive staff they always spend a lot of hours, but they spent a lot of hours last week just getting organized of where the puzzle pieces are going to go. And then once they got that figured out, they obviously those two plays they designed, you know, we had passes off of runs, so we tried to make it look like a run, like any play action, and we got them to think it was a run, and we got guys in behind. So well-designed plays, but we had run plays in the run game that looked just like it earlier. And the routes mirrored where our guys were going in the run. So it was not only the run action looked at, but the initial part of the route looked like who we were going to block on those run plays, and then we veered off, and instead of blocking people, we ran by them. And obviously, so it was they were your standard play actions, but they were well designed based on how we knew they were going to react to different things in the run game. We'd run the ball kind of effectively up to that point, and then we hit them with a couple play actions.
I'm always the injury guy. How'd you come out of it?
Pretty good. Nothing long term. We're waiting to hear and see some things by tomorrow. There's some kids that, you know, may be game time decisions, but nothing that we're thinking is anything of long-term consequence.
Coach, we saw what Cephas did against Ohio the week before, and last week it seemed like he wasn't really their number one target. Do you think that was a John Saunders thing?
Well, they play him right and left. So John was on him half the time, Frizz was on him half the time. So we play field and boundary, they play him right and left. When he was in boundary, John was on him. We did a good job keeping him in front of us, and we did a good job of tackling him. He still had a number of catches. He just probably didn't get the yards after the catch, and we did a good job keeping him behind. The other guy's a really good player, too. We knew there were two guys that they throw the ball to. One had 30 catches, one had 21 going in. They had, 71% of their catches were two guys. So they both got their catches, but for the most part, we had two behind us, but we kept them in front of us and made them earn it, made them drive the ball, and found a way to get enough stops.